Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop. Today is a project that I've talked about for some time, and we're going to get the next step accomplished. One of the things that I like about my tractor is it has a diverter valve, also referred to as a diverter third function, on the joystick. That's extremely helpful because I can drive with one hand and I use the other hand to operate the bucket, the boom, and my grapple thanks to the diverter third function. Now, one of the great things I like about a diverter valve versus the aux control that's on the machine today is you can feather a diverter valve. What feathering means is whenever you open the alternate flow for hydraulic oil, it is dependent upon how much you move the joystick. So you can lightly open or slowly open your attachment, or you can quickly open your attachment. You can slowly clamp down on something, or you can quickly clamp down on something. That has uses for me only because I don't like the violent open and closing motion with the auxiliaries the way they're set up today. I think those auxiliaries work best when you're operating an attachment that has constant flow, say a brush cutter, Harley rake, trencher, anything like that needs constant flow. That worked great. But whenever you're opening and closing the cylinders on a grapple, for instance, you want that to be a little more gradual. You don't want it to just pop open real fast. You don't want to just slam shut. So we are going to add a diverter to the Kimron XTL30. Now, this is a project that I have been planning and thinking about for a very long time. So there's been a lot of work that's taken place off camera that you've never seen, because this is not something that I walked into lightly. I'll show you what we've accomplished. I'll show you what we have acquired to complete the job. But even after I get the diverter mounted and the electronics hooked up to it, the most important part is the plumbing. And that's going to take a trip back to the hydraulic shop with Nathan to finish the plumbing. Potentially new hard lines, definitely lots of fittings to get everything like I want it to be, and ultimately to get it to work and look right. So this is just one small step of a much larger project. At the end of the series, I will put together our total spend, all the parts that you need, all the consumables, and I'll even give you a schematic on how it's wired up. But until then, come along, let me show you what we've done already, and let's mount up the diverter and get the electronics done. This is a hydraulic diverter, and the way this works is a solenoid that opens and closes a spool. The way this one particularly works, your standard flow, meaning if the spool is not opened, comes in and goes out. This is the divert. So whenever the spool is activated, and this just works off 12 volts, when the spool is activated, flow is, instead of going straight through the valve, comes out these two ports. So this is where the grapple or 4-in-1 bucket or some other type of low pressure connection would be that I can use. Now, I mentioned feathering. When you push the button, this is a new thing that I printed on my 3D printer. So when you push the button, this is a new joystick attachment that I 3D printed. It opens the valve and would divert any flow coming through the diverter valve. By default, if you're not activating the spool left or right for bucket curl function, no fluid comes through. So you'll activate it 100%, but no fluid's coming through until you move your bucket curl left or right, and then flow is gonna come and it will immediately start coming out this when activated. So that's kind of what we've done. This is a custom bracket that I've built. This is 1/4 inch plate here. And I'll be honest with you, really hard to make sure you machine those 4 holes like they're supposed to be. get this machined and blocked so it's tight and secured like it's supposed to be. It was a bigger challenge than what I had anticipated. I'm also not an expert machinist, so I am a hobby guy at best and using the crude tools that I have here in my shop. But this is Diverter. Let's go over to the machine and I'll show you where we're going to mount this. This is a piece of 1/2-inch steel that I drilled and tapped, and that diverter valve will mount here. This is the diverter valve mounted to the arm. And the way it's mounted and the angle allows it to be perpendicular to the ground when the arm is in the down position. And it's mounted well above the lines here. I probably could have brought that down lower. Again, this is not a factory pretty option. This is farm boy ingenuity. This is your view from the operator's platform. You can see it sticking up over on the left-hand side, but I do not think it's going to be a significant problem. I don't know if it's going to be that bad. I probably could have angled it and leaned it back more. There's a bunch of things I could have done, but this is what I did. Okay, let's start taking this apart and we will start doing some wiring and see if we can't get something wired up. Hopefully you can see this. Hopefully you can see this. But I'm going to draw up what our electrical schematic is going to look like. So on this side, we have our diverter valve. We are going to have our joystick button, and we're going to have our battery. So the way this works is a simple 12-volt circuit. You take your ground here. It's obviously going to ground. You're going to have a negative from this side. So you'll bring your negative to this side. It will connect to your ground, and then your positive is the active piece. Will run to your joystick, and then there will be a separate wire that connects at the joystick. And when you push the button, it connects the positive circuit. The ground is already waiting, and with a diverter valve, it does not matter which wire is positive and which wire is negative. So we have 2 wires coming out of our switch here. These 2 wires will close this circuit. When they do, it will activate the diverter valve, and the solenoid will be open for fluid to flow. The diverter valve will have a ground connection that will permanently go to ground. The positive from your battery will go to your joystick. From your joystick, it will go to the diverter valve, and when the button is pushed on the joystick, it will open the diverter valve solenoid, allowing hydraulic oil to flow from the in ports to the diverted ports. And when not pressed, so when the valve is closed, the hydraulic fluid will flow as normal from the in ports to the out ports. So this is our extremely rudimentary electrical plan that we will build now. And I'm so thankful to my son for printing me this and helping me design it. This was something that I thought was really comfortable for my hand. Now the problem is I have to open this hole up right here so that will seat in there nicely. And for this, we're going to use a Dremel. Right. Okay, so we've got that in there now. So there is the button piece of that. Definitely need to get some sandpaper and sand the top of this off, but no big deal there. I need to get our electrical connections started, and then we can take some wire loom here and protect the wiring with it so it will look a little more cleaner and finished. But that's the goal. You push the button, go left and right with your joystick, and then that would open and close grapples. Without the button pushed, it dumps and curls your bucket. So that's that piece. Okay, one step down. Let's go to the next step. And now we're going to be able to use that to build our Deutsch connector for the power of the diverter. So we're going to use this and build the power cable for that. Here's how these Deutsch connectors go together. That's a waterproof connection. That's how they fit together. Just come apart. And I'll put this end on the diverter valve, and then this end I'll cut off and put it on the end of that. Here is our diverter valve. And let me show you how to get this off, because this is the part we're working on to do the electrical connections. There you go. That's how that comes off. This is the electric solenoid, basically a magnet. And the magnet acts on the spool valve and activates it. So you see we have two wires, blue. They're both blue because this doesn't matter if which one's positive and which one's negative. So give me a second and we'll take this apart and we will replace those wires with these. Now the next thing I need to do is I need to get our measurement halfway correct, and then we will attach this end here and finish it out the same way. On your Kimron XTL30, you have a 6-circuit fuse panel, and this circuit right here is not used. So we can put our positive here and have our circuits connected. We just have to interrupt the rest of the circuit for it to work. So I need to build that interruption piece, and we can plug it in and go to town. This has no relays. This is the extent of the electrical system right here. All it is 6 fuses. We left off and I'm back. For everyone that thinks this stuff is super easy, it's not. It's not difficult. It just takes a lot of thinking, because I don't do this every day. At least I haven't since I was 16 years old and into car stereo. So I don't want these connections to be right beside each other because they can get kind of bulky. So I'm offsetting those connections for the crimps. I always like to heat shrink my connections. Okay. There's one end. This plugs in at the diverter, and then this will run up and connect to power and ground. Let's make that now. If you're going to be doing electrical work, you want to make sure you have all the connectors you could need. There's a nice protected connection. Let's heat shrink this one. Great. Let me get a quick measurement here. So the fuse box we know is right here on the machine. This is where it's going. So it's going from the fuse box to right here. So we can do a rough measurement and be good. You know, if we have a little extra cable or wire, right, we'll be okay. So we could safely say that, what's that, about 3 foot is plenty, probably more than enough, and I can coil up the rest. So we're gonna take that. I'm gonna get this ready, but I am not going to do anything else with it because I need the second cable that is going to connect off of that, and that way I can put a cover over them and protect them and have it finished very nicely. And we are going to okay, so we have these. We know where they're going now. So these ends here need to connect. So let's go ahead and put some of this on and get one end done. So the way this nylon wrap here works that I'm working on, it is the old thumb cuff thing where you'd stick your hand in the two ends of the wicker. Next thing you know, you couldn't move them or get them out. This works the same way. I'll shrink wrap this. Okay, so that's one end. And this end, we got a lot of leftovers, so we'll take it off. And then we want to connect it to the control lever. And there's no doubt that this cable's probably 2 foot too long. And the wire for this switch is pretty thin, so I'm going to strip a little more than necessary. And then I'm going to double it over on itself to give more contact space. All right, I've got you repositioned here. So we're going to take this and we're going to turn it over so that it makes it more mass. And remember, it does not matter which one connects to which. This is a momentary switch, so whenever you engage the switch, you complete the circuit. The completing of the circuit is what activates the diverter. Okay, so this is our assembly, right? This is the button that we're pushing right up here. This is going to give power and complete the circuit. And so we want to run this wire through the boot, and that will help make it a very, very clean install. So we'll take our wires. And then that will keep it all clean out of the way. I can zip tie that on if I need to. But moment of truth, let's make some electrical connections and let's see if this is going to work. I already have auxiliary power here, so that's going to work. Now we have our handle. Let me show you how we're going to mount it. Our cables, and we just stick them right here. Now this is your multi-valve. We can push that in. I'll kind of pull it where it needs to be. Perfect. And this has it right in the front where I want it. Okay, so I've got that in. Let's bring you around. Let's make the connections and cross our fingers. It works. Now we have all this extra cable we're going to have to fix, but let's make the other connections first. One of these is going to have to go to ground. I've got a ground right here. This is positive. I need to put positive to positive. Great. And now this one should plug in to our open section. And we have lots of wire that we're going to have to clean up. Okay, moment of truth. When I turn the key on, we should hear the fuel pump kick on. And then whenever I push the button, the little red light right here should light up and we should hear a click. So I'm going to leave the microphone here so we can hear the click. Okay, I hear the fuel pump. Ready? Here's the click. Look at that. Okay, we have success. We have successfully completed the electrical connections for the diverter valve. That's a huge step one. There's still a lot left to do, and it all has to do with plumbing to get the hydraulic lines to map where I need them to go on the diverter valve and then route to where I need them to go for my equipment. But step one is done, and I now have a electrified diverter valve. Thanks for sticking around for part one. This is a highly technical video. There's a lot going on, and I try to do the best job I can explaining it. I'll show the schematic, and I will make a nice one that you can download. I'll give you links to everything that I'm using in the video. And I will bring you back for part two when we go to the hydraulic shop and have Nathan make this thing actually work with plumbing. Thank you so much for sticking around. Thank you so much for supporting me and helping me with my projects and giving me all the feedback. Have a great day. Please don't forget, hit that like, subscribe, notification bell, forward it to a friend, leave a comment. Everything helps the channel and views more than anything. So I appreciate you. Have a great day, and we'll see you on the next one. Hey, thanks so much for sticking to the end to watch the video. I appreciate it. If you're not already a subscriber, click right up here. I'd love to have you as a subscriber to our channel. YouTube thinks you'd really like this video right here. Please feel free to watch. And if you want to see some of my favorite videos, all with my mini skid steer and working, follow this link right here. Thanks so much. Have a great day.